What's up, guys? I wanted to do a quick build update about my Magic Find Deadeye character because there was a lot of questions and I wanted to do a higher budget version update sometime soon, but because MFing seems very popular and there was a lot of confusion around the build, I decided I'm gonna make an update and also talk about the build, the strategy, and answer the questions in one video. So if someone is interested, you can find it in one place. You don't need to look, you know, all over the place. First thing I want to explain is the build, what MF actually is, and what should you expect from the build. So MF is actually can be any character which you put increase rarity and increase quantity. In generally, people are using Wind Reaper, so they are bow characters or some wand characters. The important part about MF is in general it is a very streaky strategy because for example in my strategy which I was running I was trying to look for nurses in tower because nurse has very low drop chance. You can have dry streaks of a lot of maps when you will not drop pretty much anything. Personally, I had a streak of around 30 maps when I didn't drop a single nurse or a single exalt. Also, I did have a run of I think 6 maps when I dropped 3 nurses and 2 exalts. So pretty much every map I drop nurse or exalt. If you are looking for a build which have like a stable, consistent income, I would look for like there are more consistent strategy also with MF, for example, like farming divines and sixlings in like Glenek. But in general, I think right now there is so many strategies which you can do with pretty much any build in the game. You can farm essences, you can farm metamorph, you can do harvest, you can do blights, you can do expedition, logbooks. Like all these strategies are super stable and they are gonna basically make profit every single time that I don't really see a point of creating an MF character for it. Because also another disadvantage of MF is the character is just weak. You are sacrificing a lot of stats for quantity and rarity. So this is not an endgame farmer. If you invest mirrors, you can do all content in the game, but we are not talking about that. Another thing I want to explain is item quantity and item rarity. What it is and what it affects. Because there was also a lot of confusion about this. Item quantity, very simple. You kill enemies and then just drop more stuff. Item rarity, also pretty simple. If you kill an enemies and they would, for example, drop rares, if you have a lot of rarity, they will drop uniques. It will just upgrade what they drop. The thing which a lot of people don't understand is that item rarity does not affect currency. So if you kill an enemy and it drop a chaos orb, it's gonna drop a chaos orb. Because you have rarity, it's not gonna upgrade into exalt. Another important thing is divination cards are considered a currency. So item rarity also don't affect them. Which is very important because I think currently the number one strategy for majority of MF players is farming nurses in towers. Meaning rarity is if you are farming exalt and nurses, rarity does not do pretty much anything for you. Obviously, you are dropping a lot of uniques. You can drop like Squire or something. That's good, but because a lot of people don't know this, they overvalue how much rarity they will get on the gear, and you should pretty much all the time focus on increased quantity. Another question which I did get was if there is any benefit of going higher tiers, not doing tier 3s, but doing tier 6, tier 12, whatever. The chances of divination cards or exalts or currency drops are the same no matter the tiers. You have the same chances of dropping exalt in tier 1 as you have in tier 16. So not for that. The only thing which actually is beneficial to go higher is, for example, if you would have a like medium to high budget character and you would decide to put to spec into this node and go like 20% delirious tier 12 maps, then the cluster jewels you would be dropping would be higher level, and we know for example, if you would be running tier 3, the cluster jewels will be like item level 70-ish, and a lot of clusters needs to be 75 to roll some passives on them. Also, some uniques, for example, I think Mageblood. I think Mageblood is only can only drop from monsters level 75 plus, meaning if you are running tier 3, which is monster level 70, you cannot drop Mageblood. And right now it's the most expensive, it's like 300 exalts. So if you can, if you if your character is strong enough, going into tier 6, I think in tier 6 the rare enemies are high enough level to drop Mage Blood, and in tier 12 everything can drop Mage Blood. So if you have a lot of rarity and you are also going for a lot of unique, maybe you are using the unique scarab, then it makes sense to go higher. But if you are using medium or low budget, and most of your money is coming from Exile drop, nurses, and scourging your maps, then there is absolutely no point. Because if you scourge your map to tier 10, like, I mean, they are not that hard to do, but if you are scourging map like tier 12 to scourge level 10, and the scourge mob has like 100% more HP, I don't know how much more damage, and you also looking to get 300 stacks, you will get one shot very easy. So you really need to invest into your character. Like Headhunter is pretty much necessary. Like it's like you cannot do that. I don't think you can do that without him. So I would not really recommend going more than tier 3 if you don't invest significant amount into your build. Uh, Now let's talk about the strategy. So I would recommend to roll every single map, like use chisels, roll every single map at least to quantity, I would say like 80 plus, and then wall them. I don't know exactly what your build is, because you can do um, a lot of stuff to mitigate uh, some mods on the maps. For example, if you get uh, Ellie Reflect, you can spec here and get 60% reduced reflected elemental damage, and then spec into this, and you can take Ellie Reflect. You are Ellie Reflect immune. You can also get that from awakened elemental damage with attacks, I'm pretty sure. So, like, you need to figure out where your build actually is at the point, and look at the mods so you don't just insta kill yourself. Another thing is Watchstones. You want to roll Watchstones for the suffixes, and the two suffixes which you are looking for is of Treacherous Realms and of Surplus. Surplus gives you 6% increased quantity. Treacherous Realms give you 4% increased effect of modifiers on non-unique maps. They are pretty similar. If you are juicing your maps, Treacherous Realms is probably a little bit better because it also affects rarity and other stuff. Like this is only quantity. They are very hard to roll. They are pretty expensive. I would just look for tier 1 if you can afford it, or roll it yourself. I would look for, it doesn't matter. They are pretty similar actually. But what you want to do is want to put 4 stones in. You roll them up, right? So you have like, let's say around 100% quantity map. You go in. We'll talk about later about what you put in. You run the map, and when the map starts, you put the watchstones out, because right now, if you have them in, the tower is tier 14. So if you are running tier 3 tower, obviously right now your tower is tier 14, so you cannot drop it. So you would start the map, you would take out the watchstones, and now you can drop the tower maps, so you can sustain. Also, favorite maps. It's very important. I would highly recommend to get 3 favorite slots and use it on tower. You can sustain it very easily, and if you look at here, currently I have 23 tower maps, but I had like full tab of towers 2 or 3 times already, and they sell for 5C each if you are selling them bulk. So what I do when I have like 60 towers, I list it public, I make them 5C each, and within a few hours I will get someone who wants to buy like 50 towers, 40 towers, and it's like, 1.5x very easily. You can over sustain them in tier 3. In tier 6, it's very hard to sustain them. So, because of that, I would recommend going with tier 3s or tier 12 if you can do it. Now, about the juice. So, currently, I'm running the fragment strategy. So, I'm using sacrifice at dawn, dusk, noon, and the fourth one, whatever it is. I probably run out of it. And I use Beyond pretty much every time. It's just because Beyond spawns off both your map and the Scourge realm. It's insane how much actually monsters it adds to the map. It's crazy. You should use Beyond every single time. Also, the mission you can use Alva. Um, it's just again, it's just more stuff for you to kill. More Beyond. It's easier to sustain the Blood realm, and also it's just more loot. If you have the mission, you can use them also. Sextants, I currently run out of the Sextants. I have 14. If you are running Sextant, what you want to do is Sextant block. So if you look at the normal Watchstones which I have here, I already roll them, and you wanna roll them for like the common modifiers. So I have the Shrine effect duration, I have the fire damage, and I have the cold damage. It doesn't matter, it can be fire damage, cold damage, chaos damage, lightning damage, fist damage, they have all the same weight. You put them in, you grab this, you grab your Watchstones there, and then you roll, and you're looking, for example, Arias. I have additional invasion boss, why not? It's great. I would not be really looking to optimize this, I would just roll something which does something. Yeah, quality bonus of maps also affects rarity. Great. That's actually a really good one. We're gonna put them in. Boom. We don't want this, we don't want this. Again, if you, for example, roll Reflect and you cannot deal with Reflect, this is actually a very good modifier. We can also put, Exiles. Maybe they drop something good. Now, additional packs. Now you just put this away, and you roll your Watchstones. It's very important that you do the Sextant block, because otherwise, like, this has such a higher chance of basically rolling that you're gonna just waste so much money and time rolling this. The Scourge map is also another very important part. Scourge your maps. For example, here I have, this is tier 2, and it has rare Scourge monsters, drops 2 additional maps. If you, like, it depends what you get. Like, for example, in my video, when I showcased the tier 10, I think I did have scarabs, I have maps, and I had catalyst, I'm pretty sure. Like, if you can easily, I did get like map which was dropping like 5 additional maps or something, 6 additional maps, and with the favorite and just running the map, you can literally drop 30, 40 towers, 5C each. Like, you just made an Exalt. Uh, the the Scourge mods you are really looking for, and you are looking to Scourge into tier 10 are maps, simulacrum splinters, stacked decks. Again, if you drop a lot of stacked decks, you can make an X in a map very easily. Expedition currency. I had like one with juiced expedition when, like, it was probably like 2x worth of the reroll currency. Like, if you roll like abyss jewels, I don't know, gems, enchanted items, just throw it out, run it, and Scourge a new map. This one has expedition currency. Like, these two I'm looking to juice to 10. What you should be careful about is you take damage when you shift into or out of a nightmare. If you take a physical, like, it can just insta kill you. Like, with lightning or elemental damage, you can go, like, I currently can go to like 12k and I can survive it, but 9k is what I would recommend. Be careful with this. Don't get something which just insta kill you because you're just gonna break it. You can also sell them. If you roll like a expedition currency and you would get like, you don't pay attention and you get like take 6k physical damage when you enter, you can easily sell them for like, I sold one for with physical damage when I was playing my low budget because I had like 2k HP for like 1x. It was the simulacrum ones. So let's talk about the gear. The gear I actually switched from the added cold damage, basically Herald of Ice, to pure lightning damage. I'm using Rat, I'm using Herald of Thunder, I'm using Precision, and the biggest change is probably the chest. So I swapped from Here is Ire to this chest, which is supported by item rarity and has crit. The reason I'm doing this because I actually want to push this build into tier 12 Delirious map, and the problem with Herald of Ice or with just like flat cold damage stacking is the explosion of Herald of Ice are not like are like explosion from Occultist or Gladiator. They don't scale with enemy HP. So I think it really supercharge your clear early and in low tier maps because like here is Ira has insane added cold damage. If you are using a Void Fletcher, that also carries your single target damage because the Void Shot from the Quiver scales incredibly well with just flat cold damage. If you want to push it into the tier 12 Delirious maps, you need more HP, you need just better build, like more HP, more damage, more everything, like scale it better. So that's when I'm going. I also bought the Watcher's Eye, this, which you are looking for like a precision on Vrat modifiers. And now what I'm looking to do, I already farmed like half of my Headhunter from nurses, and I also want to change this. I want to buy some Shaper, 10% item quantity amulet. Like basically, I want to have like at least 4k HP, and before I step into tier 12, because in tier 12 my plan is also to be Scourging Map, and like I don't know how it actually gonna go, but I'm trying to Scourge Map in tier 12, and I wanna create a strong enough character to do it. One strategy which I was also thinking is running tier 12 but Scourging tier 3, and then if you find good Scourges tier 3, then you run them, but the problem is obviously sustain. You will need to buy tier 3 maps because if you got a bad Scourge, then you're probably not gonna run the map. You're just gonna look for another Scourge, and because you are running tier 12, you aren't gonna be sustaining. I think that's pretty much it for the update. Basically, the updated build. I'm gonna post the POB in the description below. I'm also gonna post a Google Doc which is from Exosta and the Magic Find Academy Discord channel. Exosta has also he has a guide. I think in the MF Academy Discord, a lot of people are standard players, or they play a lot of standards. Maybe they play standard and league, but Exosta has very good guide on Magic Find, with also like explaining a lot of stuff which I just explained in a written form. You can just go there if you just want to read about it. And his characters really focus about being basically MF, but being as strong as possible. I think his low budget character has more HP, he's like 4k HP, is more than me right now. And I put like, like just these gloves with curse cost like 15x or something. So it's more than his whole build. So if you want to look for an MF character which is really focused on like actually be as solid as MF can be, very good resource. I highly recommend it. About my character, where I'm gonna push it, uh, the thing which is gonna change is I'm gonna get Headhunter, I'm gonna get the Shaper Amulet with with quantity, so I can get as much stat as possible. And I'm also gonna change the quiver to get additional arrow. With my tree, this tree is pretty scuffed because I just did the transition to 3 clusters because I was missing resistances. So I went 2 clusters with Stormdrinker, Prismatic Heart, and then one with Corrosive Elements, because then I can take this and I just can apply like high exposure is really good for damage. But when I jump to tier 6 or 7 or 12 or whatever I decide to do, I plan to level because I'm still like level 88. So I'm looking to push this character to maybe 94 or around that level. And then look how it's gonna perform in tier 12. I'm not sure if I forget about something. I think this should be like a very good base if you look at my first video and this video, that when to start, what to do, what sextants, watchstones, the build, and yeah. I don't know, I don't have a script for this, so it was probably very rambly. I don't even know if I, you know, spoke about all the points I wanted to. So if you are actually interested in something, just ask in the comment section below and I will try to answer when I will have time. I also will do a showcase, not in this video because it's super long, but probably when I get the Headhunter and the Amulet, I will do a showcase of higher tier maps, probably the Delirious map, how it look like. So see ya, and have a great day.